Ready? Hi, my name is Miles Burdick, and I'll be giving my presentation on the wisdom of yoga. To start, I chose this topic because I practiced yoga for almost all my life, and I've been more regularly going for about 4 years now. And after hearing the classes presentation on Hinduism, I saw some close connection between the wisdom I gained from yoga and Hinduism, mostly because it's just from that religion, but it's been very off-branched and westernized over the years. So to start, my thesis for my project was throughout the years of regular practice of yoga, I've gained the wisdom of self-acceptance and peacefulness and self-discipline. These are just three great attributes of wisdom I feel like I've gained and been taught through the years of yoga. To start with self-discipline. Self-discipline is just a great attribute to have. It's almost every successful person in the world, self-discipline. It keeps you top of things. It's part of time management, just being self-disciplined and being able to overcome obstacles that life throws at you. In yoga, they teach you this with strict instruction by the instructor, basically giving you detailed instructions of both breathing techniques and positions, when to breathe, and when to move poses and how long to hold. It also teaches us through dedication of regular practice, and basically you remove all technology when you come in and just basically exclude yourself, which takes a little bit of discipline to take yourself away from that. It also, a big part of yoga is patience, the ability to clear your mind and focus on one thing, basically holding a position and mindset at one thing at once rather than focusing on everything else. Another thing in yoga that's also taught in Hinduism is the chakras. And basically they're just energy points in your body that are spinning dices of energy. And each pose in yoga emphasizes and centered around one specific chakra, and it takes a specific amount of discipline to utilize and open that chakra. In this pose, the Surya Namaskara pose, is one of the most well-known yoga poses for attacking and targeting all 7 chakras and unlocking multiple energies at one time. That's basically the pose in the top right, basically as you go through it. And then here's a quote I had from a well-known yoga instructor about mental toughness and how it's required by yoga. But using it for physical practice is not good or no use, just a lot of sweating, pushing, and heavy breathing for nothing. The spiritual aspect, which is beyond the physical, is the purpose of yoga. When the nervous system is purified, when your mind resets the Atman, the self, then you can experience the true greatness of yoga. Basically what he's saying is the true purpose of yoga is not just for an exercise, which I feel like lately it's been more of an exercise, but even though its true purpose is basically a form of meditation and becoming one with yourself, and that's the great part of yoga. My second point was self-awareness. And this is just a great attribute to have. It basically means you're aware of your specific boundaries, what you can and can't do, and you're just aware of your being. And this is taught through yoga, through meditation. Basically, at the start of every class, you're just in an overall starting pose. It's just basically a child's pose or something on the ground where it's just easy, where you can meditate with slow, deep breaths. It tests the body's limits, pushing you to new limits, basically testing what you can and can't do, both strength and endurance-wise. The overall philosophy of yoga is connecting the mind, body, and spirit, which is basically part of self-awareness. And then one pose that's well known for testing self-awareness is the Hatha pose. It's most common practice. It's one of the most common practice yoga poses, which strengthens both your physical and mental strength with the goal of understanding oneself. And for this I had 2 quotes. My first quote was written from a psychologist, journalist on basically overall study, a psychological study in yoga and its effect on the mind. There is a growing body of research to back up yoga's mental health benefits. Yoga increases body awareness, releases stress, reduces muscle tension, sharpens attention and concentration. Then my second quote was from a famous Hindu spiritual leader who credits yoga for his and many of his followers' spiritual awakening, basically becoming too self-aware. Each student may take in one or other of them as path according to the subject's mental temperament. However, each intelligent student shall discover for himself that whatever be his main path, other can be totally eliminated from his program of self-evolution. Basically, just figuring out yourself. Then my last point was peacefulness, and this is achieved through meditation yoga. Basically, beginning the class with a basic pose for meditation, breathing techniques, deep inhales to relieve stress and slow one's mind and heart rate to basically become self-aware. Specific poses, including child's pose and downward dogs, are meant to target peacefulness, just for one to clear their head and become one with their breath. Then for Hinduism, one thing that is also taught in yoga is about karma, which is the universal law of cause and effect. And this gives people inner peace, knowing that like the universe is fair and just, knowing that everything will just work itself out. And then I wanted to end with this quote from the ancient Hindu text about yoga, basically where it started. There was there having the mind actively focused upon a single point with thought and sense activity controlled. Sitting on the seat, one should practice yoga for purification of the self. With a aligned body, head, neck, keeping these steady without movement. Focusing the vision towards the tip of one's nose without looking about in any direction. Basically, my final thoughts is yoga is more than just an exercise. It could be used to utilize your true self as a form of meditation and just help discover yourself and get a lot of stress relief. And these are my references.